Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the AMX M4 MLE54 in World of Tanks Blitz. This, of course, is the Tier 10 French collector that everybody wants to get their hands on this year's Blitz Fair. And I've already done my review on this tank. I talked about the good things, the bad things, and everything else like that. But one thing I specifically said in that review is I wanted to do a follow-up video after I'd played maybe 100 or so games in the tank to tell you my initial impressions, which I had originally, and then how the tank actually performed after quite a bit of testing and games. And, well, it's been a couple days later, and as you can see, I'm currently sitting at 90 games played in the tank, which is quite a bit. So I wanted to see how it really performed, and I kind of do have a pretty good idea of what the good things are and the bad things about this tank, and I'll be telling you everything you need to know in today's video. And as well, one thing is about comp, because a lot of people have been wanting to know, is this going to be the next comp tank? Sort of like how the Kron came into the game and it swept the floor, being used in almost every single comp strategy with Russia, EU. We even had them on Rain's team in NA. The Kron was a tank that nobody thought was going to be in comp, and well, it really started to change the comp tides, where the AMX is a vehicle that everybody thinks is going to be in comp, and well, it turns out that it might actually not be. So let's get into some gameplay while I do talk about the tanks. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is talk about the weaknesses I have noticed, because while this is, in my opinion, one of the strongest tier 10 heavies in Blitz, it has a lot of weaknesses that I've started to notice. First of all, it is the size. This thing is massive, and that's not a "that's what she said" joke. It really is just a very, very, very large tank. In fact, if I were just to show you the size comparison of this to, let's say, a mouse, you can see it's not far off. Like, that's a 50B, which is, again, a massive tank. This thing makes a 50B look small, and it's only about 10% smaller than a mouse. And yeah, while it does have actually more frontal armor on the upper plate than a mouse, the issues arise in the side armor. It is big on the sides, and while it does have good turret traverse and good top speed, it does not have the best traverse speed. So when you are trying to turn, or there's somebody pulling around a corner, it's very, very easy to snap a shell in the side of the AMX and back up before it can able to get you back. And that's one thing that I've noticed a lot, especially with Sheridans. They are able to rip this thing to pieces because you turn your turret to the side as well. The turret is massive, and unlike the mouse's turret, it's not extremely well armored. Like the front, yes, the front is very strong, but the sides only being about 150 can be very easily shot, of course, at an angle like this or this. So it does have a lot of weaknesses, but to counter that, it's got really, really good mobility. And that's really the best thing about this tank that I've noticed, is the mobility. It's able to go 45 kilometers per hour quicker than most medium tanks can reach their top speed. As you can see, I'm already going 30. Now I'm about to go 40. Like, it really is a super duper quick tank. Now, the biggest issue I've actually noticed with the vehicle is the DPM is quite weird, because I was thinking about it, and you play a vehicle like a, let's say, a Super Conquer, right? So the Super Conk, let's first of all aim that shell on. Ooh, nice shot. But the Super Conquer has got a 400 damage gun, which is nice. And by the way, I just want to throw out there, as I said at the beginning, I'm not really dissing on this tank. I just want to talk about the weaknesses first, and then we'll talk about the good things. So the Super Conk is a tank that I've always loved. It's got the, good DPM, about 2850 if you're running Rammer, 2650 if you're running Cali. So I'm sitting at around 2600 DPM on the Super Conk when I run it. Now, that gun is nice because even if you miss a shell with the 400 damage, it's only about a 9-second reload. So it's 3 seconds quicker than the reload on this vehicle, which is quite a bit. So you're gaining a lot more flexibility, where if you miss one shell in the Super Conk, it's not the end of the planet, because of course you get to reload a couple seconds later. Where this vehicle, you miss one shell and it's a lot of your DPM. In fact, with this vehicle only having about 2300 DPM, you're shrugging off about a fifth or fourth of your DPM in one singular shell, which isn't necessarily what you want. So it does struggle with the fact that you don't want to shrug off all your DPM in a singular shell, and that was a really risky move there. Don't know if I normally want to take that, but it was worth it. We got the shell out, right? So let's aim in on the 183 once again. There you go. Nice tap into his turret. You can see that this tank is so incredibly tall that I'm actually able to shoot this 183 even when he's behind the wall here. So let's try it one more time. aim up, and boom, there you go, finishing off the FE2 5B183. So, now that I've talked about the bad things, and there are a couple other bad things, like a 183 can hesh you in the side, it's got the corner cutouts, the track wheels aren't super strong, but that's about the same for any tier 10 heavy. You know, you've got your big weaknesses anywhere. But talking about the good things I've noticed, well, first of all, it's got that big alpha, and while the big alpha does cause your DPM to suffer a little bit, oh no, ooh, that was very, very lucky, that's all I'm gonna say. But as I was saying, while the alpha does cause your DPM to struggle a little bit, at the same time, it's very, very nice to be able to shoot somebody for 500 hit points. Like, we might be able to tap this 183, and there you go, 569 hit points shrugged right off of his vehicle, which of course feels great. The ability to just slap somebody's HP to pieces like that is just a fantastic feeling in general. And of course, we're going to tap him one more time there for 467. So the nice thing about alpha is that you can trade with enemy opponents. I'm able to not be as worried about that 183 shooting me and tap him back a couple of times as well. In a position like this where I'm hull down, the frontal armor on this tank becomes very, very invulnerable. In fact, the only way he's going to damage me is if he shoots high explosive, which, as you can see, he did not, so he was not able to penetrate through my frontal armor. So the vehicle's got a lot of strengths and weaknesses going for it, and, well, that's another weakness, I guess, is the gun. It's not the most accurate gun, and we're probably going to be penned now in the frontal plate. Come on, ram! Oof, we almost killed him, actually. That's kind of crazy, we almost killed him with the ram, but, you can see that the gun isn't the best, but at the same time, for it being a 132 millimeter, I'd say it's a 130, but it does 480 damage. So we're going to pretend like it's a 132. Well, just the fact that it's got such an accurate gun for how large the caliber of it is, it actually isn't too bad on the accuracy. And as you saw there, that was a 4,100 damage game, a pretty easy 4,000 damage game at that, and that was a mastery to pull out. So the tank is not bad by any means. It's very, very easy to do well in it. But at the same time, don't expect this vehicle to be the most overpowered tank in tier 10. I've had a lot of people that were complaining after watching videos saying, oh, like my original videos on this tank when it was in super testing, I was saying it's going to be OP. And after they nerfed it, I think they actually nerfed it very, very well. And a lot of people expected the tank to be overpowered. And I don't really think it is. If the average player gets their hands on this tank, it will struggle. As I said, it's got a lot of weaknesses, and while it can be extremely strong if you're able to hold hull down as well, it has equally a lot of issues that don't go well when you're trying to hold hull down, like the cupolas on the roof. I can't tell you how many times I've been snapped in the cupola, especially on live stream. You guys noticed, if any of you were watching the live stream when I first played this tank, it did get shot in the cupola. So this isn't a rant video or anything like that. As I said, I'm not dissing, not hating on the tank. I'm actually performing very well, but I wanted to put a realistic idea of the vehicle out there, because a lot of people just think that this is the most overpowered tank currently and that nothing's ever going to stop it. I do think that there's a lot of vehicles that are just as good as it. And by the way, as you can see, there's that Hesh shell. Hesh really hurts this tank, especially HE from any bigger caliber gun. You can see that did shake off a big old chunk of my HP. Not necessarily what you want, but you know what? We're trying our best here. There's the 30B. Ooh, this is not super good right now. In fact, we're going to try and kind of get our way out of here. Just because I don't want to get... Ooh, we got very lucky there. Sorry, E3, but I'm trying to squeeze my way through. So hopefully my team is going to do a good job dealing with a vehicle like that 183 off to the side. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to spot it, but, you know, it never hurts. Yes! Oh, no. As I said, accuracy could be a little better. It does struggle occasionally when you're trying to hit those types of shots, but there's not much you can do better, right? So let's try one more time here. Come on, pull out and snap. Yes, there you go. Nice tap for 549. That's where I love that alpha. So that kind of made up for our first miss. Hopefully that'll help out our T22 medium just enough to where he can do a decent job. So we got the 30B right off to the side here, who we just missed his cupola on. That's a bit of a shame, and that E3 is going to chunk... Oh, never mind, that E3 is not going to chunk a big amount off of the 57 heavy, but that's not too bad because we've got our shell loaded, which means we might be able to get a shell in. There you go, 414, a little bit of a low roll, but every now and then you do get a low roll on this vehicle. But again, you can see that it is doing a strong job. I'm holding the line, I'm trying to support my team, and that's where this tank can really do a solid job out there, is trying to hold the line and support the team. Now, I don't know if this 30B is going to make that move and try to pull around that corner. We don't really have any tanks here, but at the same time, I think he's smart enough to know that I have repositioned. So, yep, there you go. He knows I've repositioned to shoot him. But, ooh, there's the 4005. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Let's just, let's see what we can do. So we got the 57 heavy there. We got the 30Bs repositioned, which means now I can push up here, hopefully getting some big ol' shots into the 57 heavy. Come on. Oh, ricocheting on the weak spot. But this is a good example of the biggest issue I've noticed with this tank, and it's actually the teams. When you're playing this tank, your teams fall apart really, really, really quickly, and it's something that I don't necessarily love. Of course, you don't want your teams to fall apart, and this tank, among none other, really has bad luck with teams, and I don't necessarily love that. But, you know, there's not much you can do about it all the time. There's a nice shot into the 30 base cupola. And while we did do a decent amount of damage, there's really not much we can do in this game to carry this out of a defeat. So let's aim in HE. No, HE did not pen, but we still did do a decent job, able to pull out 3,241 damage there. And yeah, there wasn't really much we could do. The teams are really the biggest downfall of this vehicle I've noticed. And I really have had a lot of games where you'll do really well, and just the team falls apart. We held the middle, and our team just couldn't hold. And I think it's because this vehicle doesn't have the DPM like a normal tank to support the team. The Super Conch, as I was putting as an example before, I've been comparing both of them, kind of thinking, okay, they're both hull down, they're both decently mobile, good guns, and I really have been enjoying the Super Conch a lot more than the AMX just because of the hull down capabilities. It's always able to shoot. It's able to stop people from pushing aggressive, where the AMX, after it shoots, a lot of people actually just get very aggressive on it. And you'll notice that not every game I play in it is always a victory. I'm actually 50% today in it, and half the games I play aren't very bad. You'll notice it's a good game, and another good game, but defeat, and then mastery, and then defeat. So it's good, and I really do like the tank. And if you got your hands on it, you will definitely enjoy it. But I can't say that it's even close to worth the $600 price tag that has been slapped on this vehicle if you want to get it guaranteed this year. Now, to the final question, will this be used in comp? Well, I definitely think that it will be used in comp, and it has potential. Also, it's big, as I said, and with size comes some issues. You need armor, and the Mouse is one of the biggest tanks that is used in comp, in fact, the biggest. And when it is used, it's more of a distraction tank, where this vehicle would be used as a rushing tank. So I think it will be used in comp, and I would love to see how it performs. I do think it'll be very, very strong, but it's going to be finicky because it's got very, very big weak spots on it. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you did, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, to be seeing you in the next one.